That's fine. You're fine. You're fine. It's fine.
It's not sturdy now.
All right, Coach.
I got it.
You good?
Don't worry about it. You're good.
All right.
Don't worry about it. You're fine.
You want to go ahead and get started? And okay, hang on.
There we go. We're good. We're good.
All right.
No one's gonna.
Outstanding.
No one's. I'm not going to say anything that's going to cause anyone to watch this press conference. There's not going to be anything controversial, I will say.
All right. You want to start with some remarks, and then we'll go to questions.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Just to recap on the Duke game. Obviously, it was. A very intense game. I really felt it was a really intense game by both teams. We just, looking back on the tape, we just went that scoring drought. I think it was like 7.5 minutes, kind of the end of the first half, leading into the second half. And then, and that just, was kind of the difference right there, not being able to score. I thought we defended. I mean, we defended really well. We just didn't put the ball in the basket. And part of that's a credit to Duke now. They're really, really good defensively. Really good defensively. And, I said it a bunch of times after the game. I think they're good enough to win the national championship. They're really, really good. So, but we competed. We gave everything that we had. We had some great looks now. I think we had some great looks in those segments. We just, unfortunately, the ball didn't fall for us. So turn to Notre Dame. A couple things I had told Ken earlier in the week. I'm taking the approach 0-0. Obviously, I didn't want us to be where we are right now, but we have played. You look at the last stretch of our schedule. I think the teams that we've played. If you go back to Wisconsin, North Carolina, LSU, USC, Georgia State, Louisville, and Duke, I think that group of teams that we've played have won about 80% of their games this year. And so we've played one heck of a tough stretch. There's no doubt about that. But we're going Saturday, and I look at it 0-0. We got to start fresh. We got obviously, we came off the pause versus Louisville, and that's a hard game. You're just coming off, and as I told you guys, Friday, we were horrific just because of the cardio. Friday, we were a little better, Saturday, a little better. And we competed on Sunday. We just unfortunately, I think we just weren't all as good as we needed to be. And, but that's part of the deal this year because of the COVID. And then we had a quick turnaround versus Duke, and Duke came off of COVID. Excuse me. And so I think that we'll hopefully now that our conditioning's back and our legs got enough good, work in, that we should hopefully get back to somewhat of a better conditioning going into the game tomorrow. I think Notre Dame is really good. I mean, I think Mike Bray is one of the best coaches in the country. There's no question the guy should be nominated for the Hall of if he's not in the Notre Dame Hall of Fame, that's a travesty. He should already be included in the Notre Dame Hall of Fame. And so I'm hoping he is. Now, I think they named the court the Digger Phelps Court. I'm pretty sure. I think I can't remember if their court, if it's something named but Digger Phelps, but Mike Bray is the winningest coach in Notre Dame. He should have his name retired there already. And I think it'd be best while he's coaching. Notre Dame should do that. And he should be in the Notre Dame Hall of Fame. He should have his banner raised with him retired there. And I think he deserves that while he's coaching. And he's just one of the best coaches in the game. And their team is really good. And ACC Media Day, and, you guys were there, the deal. I was telling people, I don't know why anyone's not talking about Notre Dame. They got their whole team back. They're really good. And they're like the Golden State Warriors, the way they play and share the ball. I mean, you could substitute Steve Kerr for Mike Bray and substitute Steph Curry and, Klay Thompson and put them on the Notre Dame, and you can put, Notre Dame players on the Golden State Warriors, and it's the same team, the way they play, the way they shoot, how their offensive concepts. They're a great basketball team. They're fun to watch. Obviously, like I said, they're so well coached. Like I told you, I mean, Coach Bray deserves, I mean, and I don't work at Notre Dame, but if I was in charge of the Hall of Fame committee at Notre Dame, he already has to be, and I don't see how he cannot. And I really believe they should have him getting retired, his name retired in the rafters there, and they should do it before he retires from coaching. He's been that good, and their team is really good, and they're playing at a high level, and we're going to have to play really well Saturday. So I'm excited to get back on the court. I hope we can get a win. I really want to get a win. We're close. I really like our team. I think we're really close. I think we're close to, but close doesn't, what's the thing? Close, but no cigar or something. I think that's a saying. I don't know. Is that a saying? But we're close. We just got to get over the hump. And, we've had some great games versus Notre Dame in the past. And, we'll have to play really, really well on Saturday. I'm excited to see, can we keep getting better and hopefully in time, when the scoreboard strikes zero, we have more points than the opponent.
Okay, let's use the raise hand function and we'll go with Kelly Quinlan to start and then Rod.
Josh, we talked about free throw shooting after the Duke game and the disparity there, which is 30 free throws almost. Just what did you see when you went back and watched the film, and kind of how do you talk to Mike? Clearly, his frustration setting in a little bit for him too, not getting calls he expects. So kind of what do you see there as well?
Well, first, let me just say this just in general. I want to say three things on that, Kelly. One is I have tremendous respect for all officials. I know they have a very hard job. I have great respect. I have great respect for the ACC officials and for each and every one of them. And I know, like I said, I know it's not an easy job. It's a hard job. And I know every night they give it their best. The second thing, just in general, and this is whether Georgia Tech or anybody, I do think that when a guy penetrates or drives, even because, and this is just a generalization, whether you're 30 feet, 35 feet, or 6 feet, the rule for college basketball is that there's two hands at any point, it is an automatic foul. Whether that's the first second of the game or the last second of the game. I mean, that's just that's the rule. I mean, that's exactly what it says. Point of emphasis by Mr. Collins and the point, who heads up the national officiating, and his point of emphasis for all across the country. So anytime you put two hands, automatic foul. Whether Georgia Tech put two hands on somebody or an opponent puts two hands, that's the rule on that, just in a general term. And then three, what I would say is Mike's got to, he's got to just continue to be really strong with his pickups, as I like to call it. And he's got to just play, and he can't worry about trying to get a foul. The referees, the coaches have to coach and do their job. The players got to play and do their job. The referees have to ref and do their job. And so Mike's just got to do his job. And if he doesn't get a call, he's got to continue to be able to make that play without worrying about getting a call or not, and looking that if he does get a foul, it's actually a bonus in a sense that, so his mentality is, I got to go score. There could be contact, but I can't worry about that. And that's just something that he's continued. I mean, look, he's had a great year to this point. He's the leading scorer in the ACC. That's hard to do, but he's gotten better. It's just, that's something that he's got to continue to improve on. And then the last thing, I know that I said three, the fourth thing, and like I said, I have tremendous respect for the ACC and the officials. I have the highest level of respect for Brian Kersey. A lot of friends of mine are the officials in this league, believe it or not. I mean, I think we got a lot of good officials, but also for, I also work for Mr. Stansberry and President Cabrera. And I know it's, for Georgia Tech, it's always important to remain, always taking the high road and to represent Georgia Tech. So that's why I don't like, if you ever see me during the game, I rarely ever even talk to the officials. I have a lot of people text me, why aren't you getting on the officials? Why aren't you getting on the officials? But I don't do that. I respect the officials. I respect the game. Yeah, there's a time or two I might say a thing here or there, but I rarely ever, and people might not agree with that. I just don't really, I'm not a guy that works the officials. I'm not that guy. I don't talk to them that much. I try to coach the team and focus on us. And so with all that being said, I always want to take the high road when anyone asks anything about the officials. One, I think that's the right thing. And two, it represents Mr. Stansberry and President Cabrera and the Georgia Tech on taking the high road on any of that. But like I said, I think the officials had a really, really hard job. I think they're great. I think the ACC has some of the best officials in the country, and I have nothing but the highest level of respect for Brian Kersey and his crew. And as I mentioned, for just again, whether Georgia Tech does it or anybody does it, one of the main rule is, it's just a rule. It's black and white. Anytime you have two hands on somebody, it is an automatic foul. And I'm not saying that anything to do with the Duke game or any game previously or any game moving forward. That I'm just making a generalization of that's a rule for any team.
Rod and then Ken.
Josh, the last couple of games, turnovers have been down for you guys, which is a good thing. Should lead to more shots, but at the same time, rebounding has suffered a little. Has that rebounding been a measure of the team you were playing, or did you see anything specifically that the team needs to do better rebounding?
Rod, it's been just an unbelievable blessing to have back-to-back games of 9 turnovers. You kidding me? I can't stand when we turn the ball over. I mean, like when you just give away those possessions, and bless you, Ken, I saw you sneeze there. But that's just something that, when you have those turnovers, you're just, because you're just giving away possessions. And especially when you're in a situation where you're struggling to score at times, you just don't have the luxury to give away those possessions. And so we've been better, even though like that turnover by Michael DeVoe, like on the fast break, holy Toledo, Mike, come on now, you can't do that. We need to score, on that one versus Duke where you try to throw it to Jordan. But all that being said, we've done a better job on that. Regarding rebounding, Duke had, I think they had 14 offensive rebounds. If I'm not, is that right, Moose? They had 14 offensive rebounds. I think we had 10. You're on mute, Moose, so I couldn't hear you. That's correct. That's correct. Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, and we had 10. Did we have 10?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just too many. Now Louisville, it was more that we missed so many shots that they just had a lot more defensive rebounds because of that. So we've been a pretty good rebounding team, but we've also gone small a couple times, and that's also hurt us on the glass a little bit here and there.
Ken, you're up.
Josh, where did you miss Bubba the most when he was out?
Well, Ken, let me say this. We lost the ACC Player of the Year, Moses Wright, but don't forget he was also the first team all defense. Jose Alvarado was the defensive Player of the Year, but he wasn't a defensive just specialist, Ken. He was also really good offensively. And guess what? A lot of people midway through were talking about him being the ACC Player of the Year. And then Bubba Parham was a really good scorer for us. I mean, and he made how many big shots or how many tough 50-50 balls. And so I came into this season knowing Alvarado and Moses weren't going to be here, even though I was thinking all the way up until about June that Alvarado was coming back. And I was pretty certain he was going to come back. But that all being said, it's worked out for him because of, and both he and Moses. So that all being said, I did not expect us to lose Bubba. And part of it, Ken, is to be a good team, you've got to stay healthy. And unfortunately, we didn't stay healthy with his knee. And so what we've missed from him, one is just that other scoring punch, another really good shooter. Plus he was older. And, his first game back was against Louisville. His knee were really sore prior to the Duke game. And I didn't know if he was going to play or not before the Duke game. He said his knees are really sore. And I said, you don't have, and he said, Coach, I want to give it a try. And he played a lot of minutes. I don't know how, he hasn't practiced he didn't practice yesterday and won't practice today because his knees are really sore. So I would expect that he would be doubtful for tomorrow, just based on how his knee, which is just unfortunate. And so, you know, it is what it is, but, you know, we just got to stay ready. And when you're dealing with the surgery like he had, it's just, unfortunately, that's just part of the deal. And most important, like I said, I just want him to get healthy. And he was feeling good. And, you know, again, maybe if he didn't get the COVID or he didn't go to health and safety protocols, you know, sorry if I said the wrong thing there, but I think everyone knew when he was going to health and safety, but I don't think it's a huge secret. But, you know, him being able to play in a couple of those games, might have allowed him to adjust. But, you know, I throw him right in against Louisville. I play him right against Duke. And, you know, he didn't have a lot of time to kind of work towards some things. But right now, but he was cleared. He was cleared, but his knees just really sore. It was sore before the Duke game. I wasn't sure if he was going to play. He told me he wanted to play. And then, Moose, you got to put on mute, Moose. And then, see, I could be the SID, Moose. I could always work along. If coaching doesn't work out, you and I can work together, Moose.
We're good, Coach. Let's go.
But
to
anyway,
Kelly.
that's that. So I know we got two more there. So that's that,
Yeah.
Ken. I think he's doubtful for tomorrow, Ken.
All right, Kelly and Rod, and then we'll finish it up.
With Rodney's situation, you know, kind of, and then
I think
also,
I think he's out for another, could be week to 2 weeks at the minimum, Kelly.
okay. So with Jordan and Saba, obviously, the clock's moving a little slowly in their head on offense, but you can see that some of the defense, particularly with Jordan, kind of naturally coming to him. Kind of, how do you approach trying to work them into the offense and making them a little more effective on that end for you guys?
You just kind of, you know, you do the best you can. They had great shots, Kelly. They had great shots. They were right at the rim. They just got to make them. And that was part of our scoring drought too. You know, if we make a couple of those short layups, who knows what could have happened. So those guys are going to be good. They've gotten a lot better. They keep improving. They just got to stay the course. And they had great looks in the paint. I don't think, you know, I can't tell them not to shoot them. I want them to shoot those. They're right at the rim. They just got to finish them.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Rod.
Josh, you guys have been doing a decent job defending the three so far this season. But Notre Dame, as you mentioned earlier, they have a couple of snipers that you really can't leave open for a second. What do you see from their 3-point shooters?
Rod, they're like the Golden State. You could have Coach Steve Kerr take it for Mike Bray, and Mike Bray then go coach the Warriors to do the same thing and just switch a couple players. That's how they play. They are great shooters, multiple guys that can shoot it. We have done a great job guarding the three this year, a great job to this point. I think we're top 5 in the ACC on that, top 4 in the ACC, you know, so we've done a really good job guarding the three, top 4. Yep. So there'll be a battle of us being able to guard the three compared to them shooting the three. And, you know, hopefully ours prevails, you know, I mean, because we're going to have to really take the three out of, and then we got to score 2 now. So, but we're going to have to really guard the three. There's no doubt about it.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot for your time.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. And just for, you know, I got my gold polo on. Don't worry, guys. I do have my gold polo. Yeah.
Yeah.